Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a type of video that I have not done on my channel for a long time, like since the dawn of time on my channel. Have we done an advice video. Today I want to film for you a video that was actually requested in one of my comments on one of my videos, if that makes sense, and it was to make like a advice video on how to plan for your holiday and how to save for your holiday. And because my channel is mostly like travel and vlog related and that kind of thing, it's fair to say I have done that kind of thing a lot. Well, I have somewhere to be in roughly 45 minutes or so, let's try and get this started. I have a notebook where I wrote loads of things. Isn't this cute? It's from Daiso anyway. Tip number one on planning your trip is that the internet is your best friend, and I feel like this is so cliche to say, but you know, think about where you're going. There will likely be hundreds of tourism websites for it. For example, if you're going to Japan, then Japan Guide was my holy grail. Like, I was on there all the time and it told you everything. So if you're someone who wants to go to Japan, I highly recommend Japan Guide. I think it's quite well known anyway, but just in case, and that covers all areas of Japan, not to give you like a description, a picture, how to get there, that kind of thing. So I love that website, and I feel like there must be loads of those kinds of websites for most countries. Rather than thinking of it as, oh, I'm so daunted, like I'm going to this country for the first time and I don't know what to look for, just type in something simple. What are the top attractions for blah 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 blah, or must see places in blah 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 country, and then most places will suggest like the same kind of things, so you'll know that that's where most people go. Tip number two. For me personally, I really like to make lists when I'm planning. I find that really useful, just to have, you know, something visual. And what I like to use for this purpose is Google Docs. So that's just something free on Google, like Microsoft Word. So it's like a Word document, but you can actually share it with other people like once you're done. So it's online, it's all online, and then after you're done you can share it with other people, like so other people going on your trip. It's really useful to put a picture next to whatever place you're going to. So what I like to do is like write the name of the place that I want to go to, possibly have a picture underneath it, and also like I like to put a link to like a page that has information on it. So when you're all planning, or like when you're going back to your list, because obviously you're not going to do your list all in one sitting, it helps to just kind of slowly add to it, and that makes it a little less of a chore as well. So it's good to have something visual. Like if you're a visual learner, or if you're someone who likes to see pictures and that's how it helps you to remember, then that's what I like to do. I find it quite useful, because instead of always thinking of like a foreign name or a name of somewhere and getting confused, you can also place it to a picture and remember why you wanted to go there. So tip number three, following on from that, I also really like to make an itinerary. That is just a sort of plan of your day written down, and some people wouldn't like this method because you want to go to the city, you want to explore, you want it to flow and all be natural and just, you know, see where the wind takes you. But for days of lack of inspiration, or just if you have a lot to do in a short span of time, I find it really useful to have an itinerary, and you don't have to stick to it. Like, it's your own itinerary, so don't feel like you're restricted to it. It just helps because it sort of puts a structure to your day. And say I'm just gonna keep talking about Japan, you know, for Japan, in that case, we only had like, I think 8 days or so, like 8 full days, and that means all the places I wanted to see, I was going to have to plan it out if I wanted to see everything on my list. You have a lot to do in that country. It kind of doesn't help to waste any time being confused or just wandering from place to place and just not being efficient, basically. I like to bundle close by districts together and plan which days will be dedicated to what place and what activities. So if it's something that's going to take all day, then, you know, provide time for it and dedicate a whole day to it if you have to. But on the other hand, if it's something small that you wanted to see, like something you just wanted to quickly go to and take a picture of just so that you've seen it kind of thing, then put loads of those together. Like say dedicate some part of the day or one of the days to just, you know, places that you want to go to, like a quick pit stop to, and just make sure you get that over and done with. And then think of like good food places nearby that you want to try. So just hitting two birds with one stone, like go and see that place and at the same time go eat something there that's good. For at the end of the trip, allow for one day just for if you need to buy any extra stuff or if there's anything that you want to go back to. And well, what I would usually do is leave a day at the end and then I'll buy all of my last minute souvenirs that I didn't manage to buy for myself or for other people. Things that say you've left in your mind, you're like, I'll buy it at the end, and you never got around to buying it. Good to have spared yourself that time to go do this. Tip number 5, when you're planning, bear in mind on just the more admin-y side, remember to take into consideration what time you arrive to the airport and, you know, what the transport is like around the airport. Sometimes your flight will come in really late, like middle of the night even. Most of the public transport won't be functioning at that time, so you need to think of like, am I going to get a taxi, how far is it to my accommodation, like how much is it going to cost, or am I going to get like a night bus, a shuttle bus, like what are you going to do? Because that's kind of like the first step when you arrive. How are you gonna get to where you need to be? Number 6, one saving money tip on planning your trip. If you don't mind sacrificing that hotel life, then I totally recommend to go for Airbnb. I've already used Airbnb twice, and like there's so many properties out there, and I think it's pretty reliable. Like as long as you're careful and as long as you like read reviews, it's really like, I haven't heard anything bad from Airbnb yet, like from people's experiences, because usually these are normal people who have like a property and this is like a easy digital means for them to finally make it exposable to people all over the world. So I personally love Airbnb, and ever since like when I go to a country, I don't really even think of going to a hotel, because for hotel price, if you still wanted to pay that price, then you could get beautiful places, you could get whole apartment. It's just really good for like budgeting, because you can find rooms that are like, I don't know, £30 a night, 20 something pounds a night, like split between a few people. You could get a really nice place for like under £50 a night, and that's really good considering hotel prices. I'm the type of person who would rather prioritize spending money on experiences and things to do in the holiday rather than kind of falling into the trap of paying a bit too much for your accommodation, because you're like, oh, it's so pretty, it's so nice, why not? But it really adds up. So at the end, you're gonna remember the things you've done rather than the bed you slept on. So tip number 7. If you're a foodie, I recommend following Instagram accounts with a lot of food posts, and just they're kind of like food bloggers on Instagram, and they sort of like tag the places that they've eaten and just have delicious photos. So it's like a really great place for like inspiration. Tip number 8 is to find apps on your phone that will be useful to you when you are abroad. For example, when I went to Hong Kong, there were 2 apps that were hugely useful to me. That was the MTR app, which is their subway system, like the train system, and just it will help you calculate routes, how long it will take, like it will show you the map. Like I love those apps, like totally necessary. And number 2 was OpenRice, which is an app for different food recommendations. When you're stuck on where to eat, it'll show you what's nearby, what's top rated, what has offers, what's in what area, what cuisine. Like it's just really, that's a really, really good app. I'm not sure whether every country has that kind of app, but in Hong Kong, make sure you get the MTR app and the OpenRice app, like just must have. Tip number 9 on budgeting. So what is your budget? How much money are you going to exchange? And when you are exchanging, you need to look at what the exchange rates are right now and just kind of keep a track whilst like just a couple of months before you go, and just kind of look at, I know it sounds so boring, but just look at the trend of the exchange rate and just kind of see like, has it been going up or down? Like is it kind of high right now as opposed to a few months ago? Like when is a good time to buy? Like also I recommend to exchange your money online. I use a website called TravelFX, and I feel like they have really good rates, especially when I compare it to the rate that you search on Google. It's actually very close. Like, most places will not give you the exact rate at the time. The rate of the day is kind of the highest rate there is, and if banks and if Bureau de Changes, like if any of those charge you like whatever that rate is, then they won't make any money. So they'll say like no commission charge, but they'll give like a lower rate. I think I've used it 3 times now. And it's always been a really good service. Like, you choose the day that you want it to deliver, and then it will be delivered to you via next day, guaranteed, recorded, signed for before 1 p.m. delivery. So I find that really good, and it's also like insured, and it's totally safe. I've already used it and I really recommend it, and it's kind of like the smarter way. I also find that when you bring things online nowadays is definitely the smarter way of working. On the subject of budgeting, how to budget yourself on holiday and how to, you know, control this money that you, like this huge wad of money you suddenly have. Just before you start spending it, just budget yourself per day, which helps for me. Look at the sum total that you have and just divide it by the amount of days that you'll be there. Just make a mental note, like how much you have for that day. Just remember to adjust, like keep adjusting. If you spend under, then you can adjust for the next day, blah blah blah. And tip number 10, wow, I have exactly 10, that's a total coincidence. Watch vlogs, which is so funny because it's kind of like self-promoting, but it's like if you want to go somewhere, what most people do anyway is like if they're really like looking forward to it, really excited, they kind of go onto YouTube anyway and take a look. But I really recommend looking at vlogs because I gained so much information from that. I remember I was watching someone called Charlotte in Japan on YouTube, and she was recommended. I've taken a lot of places from her, so if you're going to Japan, I really recommend Charlotte in Japan. She has really good like sort of single videos just dedicated to like, oh, visit this or see that. There was a okonomiyaki restaurant that she recommended that was kind of like good price, you can make it yourself, and it was right in Shibuya. So I used that video and I screenshotted like what the place looked like, took down the address, and I actually did go to it in the end, and I felt like that was really useful. Watching vlogs is just like a fun and also useful way of planning. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was somewhat informative and just maybe gave you things that you haven't considered before, and just my experience on how I plan for holidays. And if you have any more tips and advice or things that I haven't mentioned, feel free to comment about it. I really like reading everyone's comments. That is it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!